group of first-time operators here in Richmond County, Georgia today. That's Augusta, city of Augusta. It's going to be an interesting day. We got a good cutting site to work with. Going to take down a couple trees, then work on some pressures and binds, and checking out the chainsaw, doing some sharpening, and it's going to be new for a lot of the folks. Some things to consider if you want to train chainsaw operators. If you're planning to train chainsaw operators for storm work or any saw use, new saw operators of any type, here are a few things to consider. New operators need to be willing, especially in hands-on training. Managers have to either explain as part of their job duties, or they need to excite them to take part to increase their skills. Participants that are not interested are a waste of time and money, and it distracts those in the class that are interested. Just bodies to fill a class is the wrong process in a hands-on training program. Proper dress for workshops should include appropriate footwear. If it's a demonstration and you're watching someone or in a classroom, then casual clothes or footwear is okay. But if there's outside demonstration areas in the woods, there needs to be hard hats and proper footwear that's suitable for the task at hand. Flip-flops and sandals and light sneakers and shorts are not appropriate for the woods. Participants need to make sure they understand there will be breaks. Cell phones should be turned off and attention should be paid to the instructor. You'll miss information that is needed later in the workshop if you're sleeping, you're not paying attention during the classroom and demo instruction. Participants shouldn't just be bodies. They have to be physically capable of doing chainsaw activities. They need to understand that this work is physically and mentally stressful. For a general safety session demonstration, it's not an issue. But it takes somebody physically fit for the hands-on workshops. Supervisors must pick physically fit and interested persons to take part in hands-on training programs. 3 piles for the groups this afternoon for the storm portion. 1 pile of smaller stuff, and then I've got 2 larger trees that we have marked up. They're going to be planning out what to do on these particular cuts. Brand new operators. There's only 2 of them that have ever started a chainsaw before. Have dropped a couple trees, so we've got the storm stuff to work with. But their main objective is to be able to handle stuff across a road or up against something after a storm. So should be grouped by experience level as best as possible for hands-on training. When you have experienced people with predetermined attitudes of what works, what doesn't, how they've been doing it in the past, it doesn't work very well with new operators. And the experienced ones get bored watching inexperience. When supervisors are not involved in the training programs, you can expect the workshops to be somewhat useless. Management needs to know what is being taught in the training. They need to prepare or purchase tools, etc., that are to be utilized. Understand how to follow up with participants regarding them. If the manager doesn't promote the same tools and techniques, the efforts of the training will not succeed. It is the supervisor and management that's responsible to make sure employees are capable of the task they want them to do and are trained properly to do so. A chainsaw workshop in a few hours is not going to produce an operator. It takes time and management follow-up in the future to produce an efficient operator. 3 or 4 techniques that we've talked about: straight cut, offset cut, tongue and groove, notch and hinge, wedge buck. We'll see what they choose. And 3 marks, they've got to kind of get it down as we lower it to the ground. Some intertwined limbs up in the top, and this would be a tough one to work on coming back halfway down trying to clear the road. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this one works. Got some vines still to see. This one's kind of held up, so starting from the top on this one would be a very tricky situation. I had many participants say, we don't do things like that. They don't supply us the tools we need. First, you have to know what tools are available. Then you have to know how to use them. That's what training and demonstration is for. Management needs to think ahead and have this issue in process before the training takes place. Managers, owners, and supervisors play a huge role in developing safe and productive operators. There has to be time for follow-up with participants in that schedule also. PPE, personal protective equipment, must be purchased and maintained. PPE is necessary for training workshops. When an organizer tells me they don't have enough personal protective equipment to go around, it tells me what is going to happen when they need operators. No personal protective equipment will be used. If you are investing in training, invest in enough PPE for everyone who you want to train. Operators that are expected to be part of emergency work need to have personal protective equipment. Pine tree, kind of across a little ridge there though. So it says the cut's gonna end up kind of going downhill. And it's way up above their head on this end. So as they start to reduce all those limbs down, take the butt pieces off of it first and work that direction. We always try to work from the butt end whenever possible. And because it's easier sometimes to be able to lower things down and get the limbs out of the way than it is to take and try to do it all working from the top. It's going to be good to see what their plan is, working up these dots and working towards the crown from the butt. It'll be a hot one today, upper 90s. For sharpening need to be selected to teach the operators. Chainsaws that operators will be using need to be part of the training workshop. Participants need to be trained on the equipment they'll be using. Supervisors should follow up with this. I don't see it happening in the field too much, however. The first training that should take place is the operators reading and understanding the owner's manual of the equipment. If machine sharpening or new chains are to be used with operators, they need to be in place for training either by instructors or management. Saws for participants to use and perform these tasks to get comfortable with on their type of equipment is important. Returning for other employee training requests, and they still do not have the personal protective equipment, tools, or accessories, chainsaws the participants need for the workshop. If they don't have them for the workshops, I don't feel they've got them for the field work. This is just not acceptable. All chainsaw operators should have and use PPE, should be familiar with the equipment they're operating, and know how to take it apart, put it back together, clean it, utilize it, maintain it. I understand that all may not be operating a saw at the same time. For training, though, everyone should be PPE equipped for sure. If these things are not acceptable or possible, hands-on training is really not an appropriate option for your organization.